Hello, everyone. On our podcast show this week, Winston and I are unpacking our thoughts on the recent Samsung Unpacked event. There was a lot to unfold, so let's kind of get right into it. This year was, Samsung's 10th Unpacked anniversary, which was actually really interesting because during the pre-stream activities, they were running this promo which showed all of the teaser wallpapers and emails that they sent over the number of years. And because I was at those events or watching from home, and you yourself as well, Winston, it was kind of neat to see how far they progressed in those 10 years. Also cool to see was a new opening for the event based on content, which was, in this case, it was from a little show called Emily in Paris, or Amélie in Paris. Which is a Netflix show. There wasn't a lot of talk about Netflix, but it was kind of interesting how they co-opted the actors from that show, which is a very popular show. Unfortunately, the star Emily, the actress that plays her, wasn't anywhere near it. But the more snobby French part of the show, the advertising agency, they were going over and running pitches for Samsung, and they were doing it in their own French way. It was kind of neat to see them get really creative. I was actually kind of drawn into it, trying to figure out what was next. What was your overall thoughts on this year's event?
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, I've watched some of the Samsung shows before, and they weren't that great. It was just a simple presentation about the product. It didn't have that slickness to like what you get from an Apple show. But this year, and I think last year even, the shows are getting more slick, more kind of, really good looking with all their products. And yeah, I think it's a good show this year. It convinced convinced me in looking into the Samsung products, the new ones. So yeah, it did a good job.
It's kind of hard to, it's really kind of hard for a lot of companies to really match Apple's production quality. I mean, you've got Craig Federighi's hair whooshing around. He's like Air Force One. You've got the drone. You've got things flying around Apple campus. It's really difficult to actually match that. So I'm glad that Samsung found some way to make it a little bit more interesting and engaging without resorting to those types of similar tricks. Because let's face it, the Samsung team, most of them, especially the people from the Korean side, they have a more difficult time interacting with a North American audience, even though Korean stars are like, they're at the top of the list. Like, you've got Squid Game, you've got BTS, but there's a way that people want to be spoken to in North America that they just don't get yet, and they have to have these tools like Emily in Paris in that entire skit. People from their North American team, their U.S. team helping out with that. It was more interesting to see this variety than it was to see them somehow try to copy the people in Cupertino, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen from Apple, like I said, the videos are really slick, production quality is really good. The drone sequences, I mean, that's amazing as well, right? They're able to use those tools, right, for the American audience, for the Western audience, stuff like that. And then with the Korean team, because it's different culture, right? So, yeah. But you have got the K-pop stars, and that's helping them with the brand, and that's something good going for Samsung. And I think with Samsung, like I said, they're at the forefront of technology. I've always known that, and some of the stuff they come up with are way ahead of Apple, definitely. And like I said, I think you mentioned the Fold technologies. They were like 8 years, and they were developing that 8 years ago. And if you look at Apple, what have they got now? The Fold is getting popular every year. I mean, last year when they released the Folds, and even my brother got it. I asked him, "Is it really good to use?" I said, "Yeah." He's able to fold it up, and he's able to just flip it up. Like if I got an iPhone right here, right? So how am I supposed to just lodge it on the desk? I can't. You need a stupid case with the little hinge thing at the back, right? Or I need a clamp that just holds the phone. But that's stupid, right? But if you've got a phone,
we're also getting older. Yeah, both of us are getting older. Our eyesight, we need bigger screens, but we don't want to hold a huge phone normally. Like normally, it's okay.
Yeah. So right? The Fold is amazing. The piece of technology. I mean, you got the old Flip 3, right? Is that right?
I got the Flip 3.
Yeah, and that's you've been using that for a year. So I mean, the experience
this
is that
a year anniversary.
Yeah,
it's coming up.
Yeah. So tell us more about the show for it's today, right?
Yeah.
So
one of the things that was really interesting is that Samsung during and one of my if there was any criticisms, it would have been this. Samsung tended to wind the story back and forth. So as a person that wants to linearly pick information, it was very difficult for me. So I actually had to find all the information going backwards and forwards, and taking all these notes for this rundown here for the show was very difficult for me. But one thing that I kind of locked in on was the fact that even before the first Samsung Unpacked event 10 years ago, they had already started the process of doing foldable phones. It was kind of something that they were working on in conjunction with large screens, like the original Note, right? That thing was 5 inches, and that was considered huge. But now, 8 years later, 10 years later, it's not big enough. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
And during those 8 years, it's how long it took them to get the technology just right to bring us the first generation folds, which was like 3 years ago, right? So this year it's the 4th generation of this technology, which is insane. And every year it just gets better and better. And last year I thought they really nailed it, but this year we're going to talk about some things that really push the technology forward.
Yeah.
And because of the fact that Samsung's doing so well in this in the 3rd generation and going on their 4th, 10 million foldable phones were shipped.
Wow.
10 million.
Now,
that's incredible, right?
I think the closest competitor. Oh, sorry, it's not even a competitor. That Motorola Razr. That was.
It's not a competitor. No. Motorola. Great. They tried something. It was nostalgic.
Yeah, they tried.
But even the nostalgia wasn't enough.
Yeah.
The Z Fold was 8 years before in the making.
Yeah.
Before their first phone shipped, and it shows the quality. Like, I mean,
I think
it's been a year.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this thing. The only thing that happened was the screen protector. I think it's because it's Canada.
Just wear and tear, innit?
It's wear and tear.
Yeah.
It's wear and tear.
And the battery, you mentioned about the battery, wasn't that great for
battery life is kind of sucky.
Yeah.
Probably because of our, frigid climates. It's much colder here than it is in Korea. So I found that the battery life and the screen protector were the only two things that really got me down. But other than that, I mean, great phone.
I think with foldable phones, I think it's to do with usability, right? If you have a phone that's usable for just like any non-computer guy or phone guy or tech guy, it's usability, right? So if you're able to just flip it open, use it the way how normal people use it, right? Then that will attract a lot of users, including people like my dad, my sister, whoever. Yeah. They're not IT experts or anything like that. They want to be able to, flip the phone up or just open the phone, answer the call, open the phone. You answer the call, you just open the phone, right? There's no buttons to press or slide. You know what I'm saying? So with an Apple phone or even on the big screen, touch screen, I have to slide it or I have to push it up or something like that, right? With the flip phone, all you need to do, open up. And there you go. You answer your call. Close the call, close it, end the call. That's it.
So cool to do this. It feels so good.
And that's something that's really easy for people to use. I mean, usability is one of the big things about the Fold, I think, that will really attract people to use it.
Yeah. And speaking of the foldable phones, let's talk about the first product that they put out there, which was the Galaxy Z Flip 4. Yeah, my goodness, this phone is the phone that makes this phone good. It's good, but everything that this should have been is in the 4. Now, it's launching on August 26th, and pre-orders are now available. Right. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. And the most amazing thing that Samsung was able to do, despite all of the supply chain issues, was to bring this phone back to $999 USD, same price as the Z Flip 3 last year. So, I mean, we were expecting all the phones to go up in price because of supply chain constraints. The Koreans figured it out. They were able to bring this at the same price, which is phenomenal. That means that everyone that loved the Z Fold 3 last year that didn't get one can have it for the same price in the new model.
That's right.
So, couple of the points that are really awesome. This year, it's got a more refined and sculpted look. This is their new armor aluminum frame, which is more sculpted and everything. It's an improvement on the original, a little bit stronger. They didn't mention any numbers, but it is better. The rear display now offers some modes on the cover screen. That's this guy right here.
The front part.
It's the same size. This part right here.
Yeah.
Yep. So it does more. Software tweaks and everything, but one thing that I wanted the whole time was kind of more of a portrait mode, because when you flip it open and you want to take a photo of yourself, you can only see your eyes.
Oh.
Right? Because
so the screen was smaller,
way,
right? Your current one is...
The screen's the same size.
Okay.
Same size as this year, but now you can go vertical.
Ah, right. All right.
Yeah. So before it's just horizontal. So if I wanted to do a selfie, I can only see my eyes.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Now you can have a portrait or...
Full body.
Okay. Is it touchscreen? The current version, the version 3, is a touchscreen?
Yes, it is.
So, okay, they've got a touchscreen on the 4th. Okay.
And the touch gestures seem to be a little bit better in this iteration. They've made some improvements, so tapping it certain ways will offer you new features. They've really harped up on the fact that they are improving this software on almost every month on the regular updates. And there's 4 years of updates, as same as any Google phone. So they are committing to 4 years of updates on the Z Flip 3, Z Flip 4, as well as the new Z Fold 4, which we'll talk about in a little bit there. Cameras were also one of the things that people were a little bit underwhelmed by with the Z Flip 3. The Z Flip 4 now has a camera, main sensor camera, that is 65% better in low light. I didn't really notice anything that was that detrimental, because I try not to take photos in the darkness, but 65% better. It's a bigger sensor, probably a different pitch, but the same 2 cameras in the rear, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 12 megapixel wide, and then your selfie camera continues to be 10 megapixel. But there's definitely going to be some tweaks underneath the hood as they optimize the new cameras for the next group of people that love it.
The what you call it, the motion kind of vibration, anti-vibration. Do they have that in as well?
Optical image stabilization is in this camera.
Cool.
So I think that it wasn't not here, but I think because of the sensor improvements, there's definitely I'll have to check that out.
Because if you're a creator,
but it wasn't
you
bad.
want to be able to move around. You know what creators are like. They'd be running around doing stunts with skateboards and rollerblades, and you're out in the park doing all sorts of stuff with kids on the swings. You want to be able to move around, right? Okay, I'm not talking crazy movements like that, but you want to be able to have a steady shot with your arms running around, and the anti-vibration kind of stable image stabilization will...
So that makes a lot of sense, because in addition to the optical image stabilization, they've now unleashed something called FlexCam. So you can actually take the camera and you can actually use it like a camcorder.
Hold it like a camcorder. All right.
Yeah, hold it like a camcorder.
So you can
actually create any way you want.
So you're not filming like horizontally or portrait, but you're holding like this. Yeah, like that. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
New ways to create. So Samsung's been if you think about how uncomfortable this is to kind of hold, even like
sometimes,
this.
yeah. Well, you have to do that with 2 hands.
This is so much better.
That is a single hand, definitely.
Yeah. And you can have it close to your eyes, so you can keep an eye on the action instead of looking at the screen. A lot of people, when they you see the people at concerts, they've got their iPad out and they're trying to film the experience, but you can't see what's happening on stage. Yeah. So this kind of gives it back to you because it's only one eye.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah. It's almost like a camcorder style feature.
Exactly.
All right.
So I really love that, and I can't wait to try it. I don't know if they're bringing it to Z Flip 3, but at the same time, who knows? I mean, it's software. The new one will be shipping with Android 12L and One UI 4.1.1, which will be the latest version at the time of shipping. The hinge obviously is a lot smaller on this one. I didn't actually have any problems with this. I mean, it's pretty slim. Yeah. Overall, I
think they mentioned
this helps them address.
Yeah, I think they mentioned about the hinge. They made it smaller so that they can fit a bigger battery, right?
That's right. So this bump was shaved. Actually, 2 things. Number one, they not only made the hinge smaller, which is phenomenal. So it sits flat. So now you can put it up and just have it in your hand or on the ground. Cooler looking, right? But because they've made it smaller, they were able to cram a 400 milliamp hour bigger battery into this thing. Now, one of my pet peeves that I had, especially in like I've done a review for another website on this phone, and one of my pet peeves was the fact that this phone will not last through the day. Even at 100%, I get to maybe about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, I have to charge it.
So
it's dead.
You get
it's
up
completely
at like
dead.
8, you're getting about 6 hours use out of it. Kind of
6, 7, maybe. They are now claiming that with the 400 milliamp hour battery, you're going to get it's double-digit percentage increase in performance. They're saying up to 19 hours of regular mixed use.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen. But I remain to be skeptical
if you can get
because
like
there's two
10
things.
to 12 hours usage, that's good enough. That's like
that's fine
that's
for me.
Plenty.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, like they're adding a 400 milliamp hour battery. And the other thing, too, is they really downplayed this. And I'm trying to figure out why still. But the processor inside the Z Flip 4 is actually the Qualcomm 8 Plus Gen 1, which is exactly the same flagship processor that we'll talk about in the Z Fold 4.
That's huge.
So
that's huge. I mean,
it's amazing.
That's a really powerful processor. I heard it's like 4 nanometer. It's one of the Samsung's latest.
Yep.
With chip makers, the lower the nanometer, the less power it uses, but also is very powerful in terms of all the stuff. Because low voltage, low power consumption. That's what you get with lower nanometer fabrication process on the processor. So yeah.
So 400 milliamp hour larger battery, and also a much more power efficient processor. So these two things together, I'm wondering if maybe they did double the battery life. So it remains to be seen. 19 hours is pretty optimistic. Yeah. It's really optimistic.
With these processors these days, especially now, they work on what you call efficiency cores and performance cores, right?
Yep.
So if your phone is just idling, right? I mean, look at this; it's just a blank screen, right? It keeps the time, it keeps some of the messaging systems running, but essentially you don't really need to run at full power. So it's efficiency cores take over, right? So when you flip the phone on, then the power cores come in. So I think a lot of the chip makers are understanding that we have efficiency cores, performance cores, and that all help with the better optimization on the batteries. So
yeah, and I think that it's actually a good fit because this phone, a lot of people, because of the fact that the battery life was so poor, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's not a power user's phone." I beg to differ. A lot of creators are actually using this phone to create video and photos right on the device because they can now. They have all sorts of different options, and with FlexCam and everything like that, they're going to be using it a lot more for creating because it's a convenient phone to take out of your pocket. It's always there because the best camera that you have is the one with you. And now this camera can be with you everywhere in a discrete format that will take high quality video and photos. And the best part is that because the powerful processor is on board, you're going to be able to render Lightroom adjustments faster. You're going to be able to export videos faster as well too. And one of the nice things too is because of the more powerful processor, and this was something that they told us about, is that new apps are going to be optimized, special versions of it on the Samsung side to utilize the dual screen.
Oh.
So, like Zoom was one of the first ones where you can actually have the picture up top and your controls on the bottom. You're going to have WhatsApp. You're going to have Teams. You're going to be able to run Teams and the presentation up top simultaneously, so you can share screen.
Right. So you have the video screen on
right?
the folded side, the front bit, and the bottom there
on the
will be your exactly.
On the top.
That was interesting. Okay. I also heard that they fully integrate all of the Google suite inside, right? Including the Teams. Teams. It's Teams? Meets. Yeah. The Excel, what do they call them? It's called Sheets. Is it called Sheets? Yeah.
Sheets.
Yeah, all
Docs,
that kind of stuff. So it's going to be all the entire Google suite on the phone. That's pretty much amazing because everybody uses Google Gmail, right? So if you have the Gmail, you might as well use the Drive. You might as well use the Google Suite. So that's all in there. Yeah.
Exactly. And because it's such a small device, having something that is capable of doing work and also creation and also be powerful enough and scalable enough for you to do presentations on the road. It's going to make this whole kind of work from home thing. It's really going to give you more options.
Yeah, one more thing. I think a couple of years ago, didn't Samsung make a dock for the phone, like not the Fold, but the original?
Oh yeah.
And you're able to dock the phone,
called?
And it turns into like a mini kind of Android Chrome PC type of thing, right?
That's right.
Do they have something similar for the Fold?
What it's called.
Do they have something similar for the Fold? You know?
No.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. The Fold we'll talk about in a little bit, but the Fold was the one that came with
a Dex. That's it. It's called Dex. That's it. It's called Dex.
So Dex is in that phone. Dex is not in this phone.
Right. Okay. So if you want a full kind of like computer style Chromebooky features, then you want to get the Fold, but with the Dex. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's set up this year. I don't know if they, like made any adjustments. It wasn't mentioned in the presentation. What they did mention though was Microsoft has, Microsoft has their own clamshell folding phone. They took a lot of those refinements as a partner, and they've actually added it to the Fold this year. So, but we'll get into more of that. Couple more highlights for people that are interested in the Z Flip 4 this year. It's still going to have 8 gigabytes of memory. It's going to have 3 memory options: 128, which is the bare minimum nowadays, 256, and 512. So no matter what you create, no matter how high a quality it is, it's going to be capable of taking all that content and storing it locally. The other thing too is that for people that want different colors, this year they're going to launch it in 4 colors right off the bat. You're going to have the rose gold, you're going to have the purple, you're going to have the black, and you're going to have the what was the last color here?
It's the black
blanking
one.
out here.
The blue. The Bora blue.
So
I think they call it Bora blue, right? Or something like that. Okay.
And one of the nice things too is that right out of the gate, they're allowing people to do the bespoke version. It'll delay your order by a couple weeks, but you can have a completely customized solution from the plates on the back all the way to the bezel. So you can have a completely custom phone that's just for you. I believe they're also offering engraving in some markets, but that's TBD. So
I do like the
very
bespoke one. The bezel this year on the Z Flip 4 is so slick. I mean, it's now they've got the aluminium casing. It looks thinner, and it looks really good. And the bespoke models allow you to do the foldy bits at the end, the hinge.
Yep.
You can have like gold,
the hinge and everything.
You can have aluminium,
completely custom.
You can make it custom, and when you have a phone which is customizable, not just in terms of graphics, the iPhone saying, "Oh yeah, you got your nice screensaver, your customized screensavers." That's nothing. But if you have a phone physically, the back end, the hinge, the actual chassis itself, customizable with the plates and stuff like that, that really gives you that uniqueness, and I like that. So
I can guarantee you that on the pitches this year, during the football games, you're going to see a lot of these on the benches from the players.
Yeah, I bet you. Yeah, not just football, the soccer, the World Cup now this year, and then talk about the other features. Waterproof, right?
Yes. So the Z Fold series was never dustproof. So let's get out of the way. They own IPX rating with a number on the end. This year, IPX continues, so that means that it's not dustproof. So that means that if there's dust inside, sorry, this is just the way it is. Okay, they couldn't. I think they've done a lot of work to make it a very minimal issue. I don't have dust in my screen, which is great, and I take it everywhere. But it is waterproof. It's IPX8, which is fantastic. So you can have it in a mineral pool nearby, which I've done. It can fall in the pool and you pick it up, dry it off, no problem. It is built for that particular purpose. One thing that is absolutely amazing, and we'll get into it a little bit more in the Z Fold, and when we talk about that, is the fact that there's this little line in the screen.
Yeah, that little hinge, yeah.
This has been minimized this year in the Z Flip by a technology that they've incorporated into the digitizer underneath in the screen. So right now underneath here, there's 2 metal plates that separate the 2 sides, and it's thick. So that's why you get this ridge. This year, however, they've taken the thickness of the steel piece, and they've actually reinforced the digitizer instead and part of the screen with a derivative of carbon fiber. So fibers have been added to the inside so that it maintains its flexibility, but it's also stiff. And they've also added some padding underneath to give it a better tactile feel so that the screen is less susceptible to damage, which is incredible. Similar technology to what's going on the Z Fold 4, which we'll get into a little bit. But overall, great updates to this phone. I can't wait to get it. $999 starting price at $128. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to get one and what some of the offers are at the very end, which is incredible. And moving on here, I think we've got some earbuds to talk about.
Yeah. So during the show, they also mentioned what they call the Buds Pro, right? They have the Buds Pro 2.
This year, they call them the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro.
Buds 2 Pro.
So last year, yeah, I know, crazy, right? So last year, they launched the Galaxy Buds 2. I reviewed those on another website. You can also find that review somewhere on TV. But these buds, my first 2 weeks out with them, I actually hated them. I really disliked them. They kept falling out of my ears. They were not shaped correctly. They were too shallow, so I would actually have to buy aftermarket ear tips to extend them into my ear canals. But even then, for some weird reason, it just kept pushing on my ear. And then I found out a few weeks later that in Korea, because the metal contacts, and I've got them here, these tiny little metal contacts inside here, there's two gold ones here. In Korea, they were actually causing people to have infections in their ear.
Is that to do with those contacts for charging the buds, right?
Yeah,
the metal. People have allergic reactions to certain metals.
Yes.
Right.
Some sort of corrosion that was affecting them that would actually create some sort of reaction in their skin. So Samsung took care of that, obviously. It leaked.
Oh, my God.
Pun intended. And they took care of it. But that was actually it made sense why these suck so badly, but it wasn't for the same reason. It was just the fit was horrible. It sounded fine. Don't get me wrong. But, oh, my God, if something doesn't fit properly in your ear, it sucks. It doesn't matter what it is. The other thing that I hated, and battery life wasn't one of them, but let's just say that you place this entire shell on your shelf, right? And you forget where they are. Guess what? The Samsung Smart Things Finding feature does not work. It won't tell you where these are. They actually have to fall out of this thing and onto the floor in order for you to find
So,
the individual earbuds. It's
so the object tracking, I guess you call it, right? But it didn't work as well. Okay.
The GPS tracking or the whatever they call it did not find things. Finding things did not work the way that you want to, because if you had this on a shelf somewhere, it would just sit there forever collecting dust. You would never find this case, right? You would never find it. You would actually have to knock it off the shelf and hit the ground until you could find it. But then by then you've knocked it off the shelf and you've scattered it. Yeah, it's stupid. So two things immediately that they've corrected on the Galaxy Buds 2 Pro is the fit. Completely different design. It looks way better, and it seems to have a deeper canal,
and
so it goes into the ear better.
The metal contacts.
The contacts look to be a little bit different.
It's safer.
I don't know if that's going to solve
it's safer.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that right now, because we'll have to see what people say when they get them on their ears. The other thing too that I thought that was better was obviously now you can find
you can find them now. So the software is improved, the GPS tracking is improved.
The software is improved.
What about the audio quality? I heard that it was 16-bit for the old
That's right.
Pro 2. Now the 2 Pro has 24-bit. Tell us a bit more about that. Yeah.
That's right. So it's no secret that Samsung Seamless Codec is something that came in, like a version of it came in the Buds 2. It sounds better when you use Samsung hardware with Samsung phones. Same as if you use the lossless format on iPods with an iPhone or iPods with an iPad. So it's the same kind of proprietary kind of better connection that supersedes any wired connection. That's why people are getting rid of wires left and right, because they can do 24-bit 48 kilohertz audio over-the-air, short range with a proprietary codec. So Samsung has brought hi-fi 24-bit audio, 48 kilohertz with the Samsung Seamless codec. It's native to the Folds and other Galaxy devices. The other things that are new on the new Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, it's going to be a mouthful. They've expanded the active noise cancellation. It's got a 40% improvement in the way that it drowns out noise. Hopefully, it also improves on the ability to not make it sound like you're in a muffled room. So hopefully that's been improved as well too. Ambient mode is also intelligent now. So if someone is really talking to you, it will turn it off and then turn it back on. So if you're in a cafe and you're talking to the barista, you can still have that conversation without it feeling weird. This is a feature that I believe that Google has been using in theirs because they don't actually have a form of active noise cancellation that is like this, but they use the ambient mode to kind of cut in and cut out the conversations. So they enhance the vocal quality when you're in the coffee shop. And a couple of things that I really love this time around, and this is for creators, which is great, is this personalized beamforming for not only calls, but there is something called LE audio, which gives a more dramatic 360-degree
almost like a cinematic
feel.
kind of theater.
Yeah, but this
for
is for
recording as well. Okay,
this is for recording, right? So there is the 360 sound, which is something that obviously Apple does with their spatial audio.
Yeah,
right. But now, as a creator, if you're walking through your kitchen and say, "Hey, I've got this cooking video going on. Let me show you this," it'll feel like you're there. So as you walk closer to the blender, you'll know it's on this side. As you walk over to the chopping board, they'll be on that side.
It's almost like a 3D
sizzle,
sound kind of environment. Okay.
It is. And it's something that you can record as a creator to give people more of a depth of experience. I mean, anyone that poops on this type of format as a creative phone really doesn't know how to create. This is just a new tool.
Used it. So until they've used it and see for themselves, they'll understand how it feels and how it looks. But with the one thing I didn't like about when I had my AirPods for the Apple AirPods Pro is that the receiving calls, it sucked. The other side couldn't hear me, right? It was either cutting off or it was too much background noise, receiving too much. But my friend was using the Buds 2, the previous version from Samsung. And he says audio quality is great when you're speaking on the phone. Yeah, when you're speaking on the phone on the Buds, the other side can hear it crystal clear, the speech, audio, and things like that for you answering calls. So I'm guessing the same would be for the Buds 2 Pro, right?
I know it's going to take us a while to get that, but to be perfectly honest, the audio quality was never in question with these. They just didn't fit right. They also had these weird quirks. I mean, weirdly enough, when you took them out of your ear, it didn't pause. So that was stupid as well, too. You're supposed to pause the song when you take it out of your ear because obviously you're doing something else. So that was not here. Probably a software issue. Hasn't been solved yet, but hopefully these new Buds don't have that deficit. I know that the original Pros, when you took one of your Bud out of the ear, it did detect that you wanted to pause the song, so that's still there. It paused. New things this year that you might find interesting is that if you have a Samsung TV or any Samsung audio device or anything like that, it will pair and it will switch to your phone when there's a call.
Right. Okay.
And then it'll switch back, which is new. This is getting into that kind of the ecosystem thing where Apple likes to integrate funky features. This is Samsung's way of integrating into their ecosystem.
I saw in the video, it says something about, you forgot to switch off your lights at home. And from the front part of your flip,
tap.
he was able to, they call it the hub, right? The hub, they call it. You're able to just, from the front, just flip up and just say, hey, switch off the light switch. Now, is that a software part of Google's or is it a Samsung thing?
It's a Samsung thing. It's part of their smart things.
Smart things.
So it's inside the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
However, in the earbuds, I think that there's a kind of and they do this all the time. They have what's called the lab or the beta feature section. So you can actually turn it on and then have these features where if you touch a certain part of the earbud, you could actually designate that to do something else. I'm not sure if it's related to this, but hopefully
or touch twice for forward, touch, rewind and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. So, there's all these little features. I'm not sure if that's something that is viable, because if you're touching your ears all the time, you might be turning off all the lights in your phone or opening the front door by accident. So maybe not in this context,
Right.
but, we'll see.
Okay.
Moving right along, I think that very
much
interesting category. Oh, can't forget the price. They're $229 USD right now. They're available for pre-order right now. If you, and we'll talk about this a little end, but there is a special deal if you do get one of the Z Flips or the Z Folds, but, we'll go into that a little bit. And this might be a regional offer as well, too. So if it doesn't apply to you, please don't hurt us. But $229 out of the gate, not
that's
expensive.
Good.
They are actually... They're fine. $199 to $229 seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of these types of earbuds.
When the AirPods Pro came out, they were like $200. There was $250, and they dropped down to $200 over the year. But you're looking at still $200 for.
And then you also have the Google Buds Pro, and those are $199-ish, I think. So it's all in the ballpark. And believe me, Galaxy Buds 2 Pro sounded really great. Galaxy 2 Pro with the new drivers and everything, they're AKG tuned.
Okay.
So audio for me was never an issue with these earbuds.
Just a little
with the Buds 2 either.
The fit.
The fit and the quirks were just really annoying. But I think that they've got something solid here, and I think for $229, you can't go wrong. They're going to be very, very, especially if you have a Samsung device, so you can take advantage of the Samsung seamless codec.
After watching,
you like watches.
Yeah, I'm
a watch guy, right?
Look at my watch.
Yeah,
so,
I think you're a watch guy.
Tell me more about this new watch.
Yes, two watches. Two new watch series.
Okay, tell me about the first one.
Two new watches. Actually, technically, it's three. So they have the Galaxy Watch 5, usually split into two face sizes, 40 and 44, I believe. So there's a small and a big one, right? So, targeted to small, female and male. And those are back. Now you've got the Galaxy Watch 5, which is great. It's the continuation of Samsung's partnership with Google to make WearOS better. And I think that they've done that in a couple ways. For one, it makes it easy to smart switch from your original watch, be it the original operating system, whatever.
They call it smart switch
ties in
or something.
So if you ties in to WearOS. If you've got an Apple Watch, probably from that as well too. And of course, any Wear OS watch to this platform, it'll synchronize everything or match it up. New watch faces. One of the things that I thought was really kind of cool was that watch faces are function based. So if you're using something for hiking, you would have altimeter. If you're using something for riding a bike, you would have kilometers. There's more watch faces.
Different sporting activities. So if you're in a water sports environment, there'll be different things like that: water resistance, how many meters diving, and stuff like that. If you're in the altitude kind of thing, they'll have, like I said, the altimeter and stuff. Yeah. So interesting. Okay. What else?
And one of the complaints about previous watches was that the glass face, it wasn't tough enough with scratch. This year,
crystal. Yeah, you can't beat that crystal glasses. Sapphire crystals is in all of the luxury watches, and they are tough. They are really tough. Scratch proof.
There's a reason for that, right?
Scratch proof. I mean, that's the main thing about sapphire crystals. And if you have it in your watch, it's just, even if you get scuffs on the bezels and edges, the glass is the most important, because if it's cracked, big heavy scratch, you can't use the watch anymore, or you can't see the actual time or anything like that. But now if you've got a sapphire crystal on that, so yeah, that's a big improvement. Okay, good.
Especially because it's an LCD or a display that it's being covered, right? You're not just talking watch movement. The actual function of the watch is completely destroyed if you wreck the screen.
So now you have a really tough protection on the glass. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. And they've also improved a couple things. Sleep tracking was one of the big features that everyone talks about all the time. This year, highly improved snoring and oxygen detection, which was something that was brought out by Google in one of their what's it called, smart devices.
The Nest.
The Nest 5. That display actually had tracking for your snoring and your oxygen levels. It would actually do it from afar. So this one has a little bit more help because it's on your wrist. So in conjunction with the integrated sensor that's on the bottom of your watch, which is now bigger, it gets more accurate readings from yourself, from your oxygen levels, your heart rate. Microphones will pick up your snoring and everything like that. There's new infrared sensor, which, funny enough, they tend to announce these things that they have no idea what to do with.
It's like
so basically they said,
go on.
Like, all they said was basically, there's this new infrared temperature sensor on board. We don't know what to do with it, but we're working with developers to figure it out.
It was like back in the day when the motherboard manufacturers, they released the USB. It's universal serial bus.
Yeah.
It's going to be used for something. But what the hell is that?
Mean?
It's like 20 years ago, USB. Okay. And then suddenly.
Yeah. So.
Okay, infrared.
This might be closer than we think, because one of the acquisitions that Google made was they bought Fitbit. Fitbit actually has a temperature sensor on their watches. And what they use it for is for skin temperature. So if you're feeling sick or if you're feeling under the weather, it can actually give you an indication of whether you're starting to get sick.
Especially with so many, I say, diseases now, COVID and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
like a pandemic or monkeypox or something like that.
Your normal human temperatures is around about 37 degrees, right? 36.8, 9, that's okay. Anything above that, like a degree over or 2 or whatever, over anything above 37 is a warning sign. So if you have something that you can measure your temperature, then it's that's all good. I don't know why they didn't actually first had it in the first place. I mean, they should have had it in most of the smartwatches.
Yeah,
but,
I think that it has to do with the fact that Google is slowly working on integrating the Fitbit OS properties, because this is one of the things that they purchased them for a reason. So I think that down the line, and this is getting ready for that, is that when Google Fit and also Samsung Fitness and also Fitbit, they amalgamate everything into one. Where data flows back and forth, you're finally going to be able to get useful reports about how you're feeling. Are you under the weather? This is trending towards you getting sick. Maybe you should take some more vitamin C.
Yeah, it's like a big data thing, right? They'll be able to track that information. Yeah. Of course, all your health information is protected unless you want to let it, be more, I would say public, but it's all to the privacy stuff, right? I mean, if you allow more privacy or less privacy is up to you, and you'll talk about that with the knock stuff. But I mean, health stuff is really personalized, right? I mean, especially with my personal health, you don't want people to know about your personal health information or things like that. But you're right. So you're able to gather all this information and be able to have a really big data set where you could detect I won't say diseases, but like I said, if you're feeling under the weather, it could possibly be ABC. Take extra vitamins.
Or atrial fibrillation because of your heart rate, right? Irregular heart rates can be a pattern, right? If it's happening all the time, at least you have that information, you can print it off, and you can have a better conversation with your doctor. And because a lot of health is over the internet now, you can send a screenshot to the doctor that's on the other side. He can quickly review it and say, hey, over the last 4 weeks, what have you been doing on this day? Well, I've been doing this. Oh, stop doing that.
Talking about doctors, years ago when we were kids, if you felt ill, if you felt sick, you just made an appointment to see a doctor. Doctor will see you, right? Yeah. Nowadays, I asked my parents, I said, look, if you don't feel well, go and see a doctor. He says, no, you got to make an appointment, and if they're not available, blah 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 blah, you have to wait. It's like time slots. It's like making an appointment to see a doctor has never ever been that difficult. Nowadays, everything you said it could be done online now and things like that. I think, wow, seeing a doctor has changed so much. And with this health fitness tracker or health monitor, I think a lot of people are into it. Even some of the kids I know, my brother's kids, they're starting to wear. They're not the expensive Apple Watch or the Galaxy, but they want to know. They will be able to monitor their heart rate or temperature and stuff like that. So it's something.
It's competitive as well too. Yeah.
So it's interesting, and especially now with pandemics and that. Well, I was in the hotel quarantine when I went to Hong Kong, and they give me these health monitors, temperature monitors, and I think to myself, well, why give me one of these when imagine if I had thermometer on my phone. I'll be able to just, or on my phone, my watch. I'll be able to read my.
It's so much more convenient. You're having better conversations with your doctor. The doctor doesn't have to, they don't have to ask you so many questions. It's just a lot better experience for everyone because you're not guessing. True. Right? It's there. The
what else can it do? The watch,
quick updates. WearOS, like Google and obviously Samsung are working harder together, so they're going to be announcing a lot of new apps. They're going to have direct integration like SoundCloud, Deezer. Direct from watch as well too if you get an LTE model, which is not quite.
You'll be able to
yet.
Hook up on the cellular network. Okay, cool.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah. So new WearOS for new Bixby is going away. They're going to be creating a new version of Google for the watches. So Bixby is still around in the background, but they want to replace it because WearOS natively runs Google. And of course, Spotify is going to be native as well too. It already kind of is. Maps is going to be awesome. It's going to guide you to where you need to go. So if you get lost, it'll be right on your watch because you don't want to look up. You just want to know, and voice prompts and everything will come up. So kind of the unique features right there. This new watch is going to come into the market for $279. Your choice of the smaller or the bigger version, different colors, depending on market. So overall, hasn't gone up a lot in price. I think that's about the same as it was last year for the Galaxy Watch 4. Now, moving on to the new watch that everyone's looking forward to, we're talking Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. Now, this watch here, what it's going to add is going to add all the fun things that we all like in a high-end watch. This includes the titanium casing.
Okay, so tougher casing. Now, to match with your Sapphire glass. Okay. It's luxury. It's the luxury. It's
luxury.
All right, tell me more.
Luxury strap. It's going to be very similar in stature to what they did with the Gear, the original ones, where people still wear them into the ground because they're such a nice looking. Excuse me. I guess I should be checking my watch, or drinking or something like it. But it's just a premium piece of equipment that they're going to be bringing out. Two things that are very interesting about it is that unlike the Watch 5, the Watch 5 Pro has something called TrackBack. So what it can do is if you get lost in the woods, you can actually press a button, it'll track you all the way back.
Like
to where you started.
Like the drones that DJI said, they return home, right? And then it'll
so you can return home now.
Back to the point where you start off. Okay. All right.
Yeah. There's also going to be enhanced watch faces as well too. So whatever was in the watch, Galaxy Watch 5, it's going to be more enhanced. You're going to have more movements, more what Apple calls complications on their watches. There's going to be more on these particular screens. Still a 4 nanometer processor on board. I think it's going to be the same Gen 41 4200, which is the Qualcomm processor and whatever. I don't have the specs on those. I tend not to pay attention to those, but better battery life, of course, and everything like that. But one of the things that golfers will love is that because of the TrackBack feature, because of all that, there's going to be a golf edition of this watch coming out as well too.
I've seen some.
It'll be.
I think it's the Tagger. That one has the golf edition, and that was a quite nice smartwatch. I was thinking of getting one, but it's like $2,000.
Very similar.
Yeah, maybe not.
Well, one of the nice things is that the Samsung Galaxy Watch 5 Pro will not be $2,000. It's premium. It's got the crystal. It's got titanium. It's got a great strap on it. It's only going to drop for $449 US.
That's okay. That's if you look at premium,
that's okay.
Then that's not a bad price. If you look at Apple's premium watches, right, with its
it's about the same price.
Titanium and it's even more even. But
it's more money, right? But it's all there for this price. And it's got a whole bunch of new things behind the scenes, temperature sensor, same.
One thing
everything's
about
the
watch, I remember it had a rotating bezel. Is that right?
This one doesn't have the same thing. I think this is a virtual bezel. So the Gear obviously had that kind of the rotating and everything. This one doesn't get software, I think, because they look very similar to each other. So I hope they find some really neat things to do with it because I'm not seeing a difference between the two. It's not a bad thing. it's just the way it is right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with it, right? Because now they have the full power of Google behind them. This is the flagship watch. Google's also announcing their new watch, but it's going to be distinctly in the middle, while this is going to have more of the fitness features.
It's like a lifestyle brand, right? From Samsung with all the features. Okay, like I said, I was watching the show, the presentation. I mean, some of the stuff they come up with now. I mean, especially with the Fold, I'm really liking it. It's almost thinking, should I wait for the 5 or should I go for the 4? So again, right now I have the old A22, I think they call it. I bought that like 3 years ago. Yeah. I do like the S22s and stuff like that, but they, I think I need a compact, small one I can carry around, and I like the, the Pay. I have Apple Pay, right? It's a bit chunky. I had to get the phone out.
Yeah.
But with the they did a little video where it's a Fold. So imagine this is the size of the Fold, and it's just like a credit card size, right? You don't pay stuff. You could just say, Google Pay, psh, boom, done. And
I do that all the time.
Okay.
I do that all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So much better.
Watch. You got the
great watch
5
for the price.
Pro 5. That's always okay.
New thing on the watch. One thing that I kind of picked out on the Watch 5 Pro that the other watch doesn't have. The buckle is magnetic, so it actually clamps.
Oh, right,
magnetic
right.
locks.
Okay, cool.
So that's kind of one of the cool things. So when you put it on, it just locks. You don't have to worry about it as long as it's sized properly.
Yeah.
And of course, it's all Qualcomm inside. Hopefully, this new chip, whatever it is inside, is going to give it a lot more power. Efficiency, because the one that I actually have a WearOS 3 watch. It has the 4100 processor, 2 versions back. It lasted for maybe 3 days before it died. I'm hoping that this is a week. So with
the charging, really is it Qi wireless charging? Is that? Yeah,
it is Qi. Like you just put it down on a Qi pad. It's good to go because they've made it flatter. It fits on
people
more
don't
Qi
realize the Qi charging. It's so much more advanced than the Apple, though. Right?
It's so much more convenient.
Put the phone or the watch on the pad, and it charges. With an Apple Watch, you have to get that stupid thing to clap. Magnetic. You have to make sure it kind of like clamps onto the phone, the watch.
Oh, and get this: if I have my phone, and I have it like that, I can turn on power. And I can actually charge my watch
on the actual flip phone. So that becomes a portable Qi charging kind of
charging pad. Yeah.
See, that's
now granted, it's great, right? But granted, you are taking away. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is 590 milliamp hour battery. It's a big battery for a watch. So you're sucking that out of your phone. So
but
keep that in mind.
These type of technologies, these kind of features, you wouldn't expect. I only expect Samsung and Android and Google to have these kind of features. You won't find these on Apple, see? So that's the main thing.
Unless you pay money for their version of it.
Even then, I mean, in terms of feature-wise, I think Apple just, I don't know. I'm thinking, if you want all the latest, newest, craziest features, I think, like I said, Google, Samsung, right? If you want, like, Apple ecosystem and that's their stuff, then you have to go with them. Oh, anyway. Okay.
I'm sure they're working on something. We don't know what it is. I'm sure it'll be something old, made new again.
Apple Flip.
But just better.
Apple Flip?
But everyone will... I don't know. I'll give them credit where credit is due if they do it better. But, I mean, Samsung's been working on it almost a decade. It takes a long time. It's not overnight, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of folding phones, let's move on to the one that everyone's looking forward to, which is the Galaxy Z Fold 4. Coincidentally, coming out at the same $1,799 USD price, but a whole lot more new stuff. Number one, it's got a brand new hinge. Now, keep in mind that all the original hinges were good. They were as small as they could possibly make them. But guess what? Samsung is full of engineers and eggheads. So they figured out to do it with fewer pieces and even smaller and more integrated. So instead of using a spring mechanism, they're now using some sort of weird screw mechanism that basically folds and closes and locks in one motion, and the hinge is smaller.
They're using that origami
lot.
style kind of technology, right?
Yes.
That's something.
So it just
I've seen those, some of the
Incredible.
YouTube things where they have the origami and it just folds into place, and it uses the least amount of, parts, and you get the folds done.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Okay.
It looks like a worm gear to me, but I could be totally wrong. The diagram looks like a very micronized worm gear that locks in place and then retracts again, which is incredible in its own right. It uses like a stainless steel, and then the armor aluminum casing is back again with improvements, just like with the Z Flip. It's thinner. The screen is now edged, more edge to edge. It's a lot thinner bezel all around, including the display that's on the front of the phone. It's now more edge to edge, so it feels more like a waterfall designed phone, rather than like it looks like a usable, really thick phone.
So
now.
the price you mentioned, $17.99. What size is that? What capacity?
Well, you're looking at 256, 512, and a whopping
and that
1
is
terabyte.
1 terabyte is more expensive. The $17.99 is the 256 model, right? Okay,
That's right. Yeah. So that's the starting price.
I with that price, I know I'm not saying anything against Samsung, but I think that price is a little bit too high. If it was around about $14.99 for a 256, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's they're keeping that price.
Yeah.
I understand because so.
To be honest, you're actually getting almost 3 phones because you have 2 phones when you flip it open and you have the back cover. So you actually get a lot of value for one. And you also get, and get this, it's still waterproof. It's not dust resistant. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's never been rated that way, but people have not had problems.
Always, you can't get 100% dust because of the fold. Okay, that makes sense.
And remember when I was talking about the Z Flip, how it had the little divot in the middle? Same technology. They've made it even more integrated by pulling the divot out, by removing the metal plates and reinforcing the screens with a series of sponges underneath. So some advanced material, probably some sort of urethane, and also reinforcing the actual screen digitizer backing with fiber. I don't know if it's carbon fiber. It would be cool if they said that, but it's probably some sort of fiber that reinforces the whole structure, so it has a nice feel to it when you write on it. So a little bit more important than the Z Flip, because you're going to use the S Pen with this, which is incredible. So a lot of work has been done in optimizing the software. It still has the Qualcomm 8 Plus Gen 1, which is the same as the Z Flip 4, which is incredible. So all that power there. And also Office 365 is completely integrated. We're talking about how Microsoft is working very closely with them. So because Microsoft has experience with their folding phone, I can't remember what it's called now because I would never buy one, but all that technology has come into the fold and it works beautifully. Like one of the demos they showed was like, okay, you've got your file, your OneDrive open, you're trying to do an email, you're annotating, and then you're
drag and drop, just like Windows, right? You go drag and drop. Yeah,
exactly.
That's really good.
Right? Presentations, people on the bottom, presentation up top. You can, participate on the show, annotate, do whatever. You can do all these things in this device. So it makes it a very powerful device. So for $17.99, you're getting a phone, you're getting another phone, and then you're technically getting a small laptop.
You are. Imagine, I've seen my brother with the Flip. I'm not quite sure which model. It must be the one before the new one, right? For the 4. He's opened it up, and then he was able to open Spotify in the corner. He's playing audio. Then and then he opened. I think it was YouTube. He's running a YouTube. He's watching a little bit of YouTube, and then he opened another one. I think WhatsApp on the messaging, right? And then and I said, oh, look, I said, look, check out the crypto prices. You open crypto.com, right? It's like all 4 applications running at the same time, and. It's just
that's right.
This is like a mini computer. I mean, at the end of the day, that's like a.
It is a mini computer.
How I imagine, like when the smartphone show that we did, it's almost like a more enhanced version of a PDA, right?
It is.
But it's not just a PDA; it's a smartphone. But I would call it a smart mobile computer device.
It's a pocket computer, man.
Pocket
like this
computer.
thing does all the things. I mean, in this time, in this day and age where everyone's on Zoom calls and everything like that, you can have all three people at the bottom. You can look like you're engaging with them. The camera's right there. You can have your earbuds in. You can use your pen to kind of jot notes on the side here while you're paying attention to this entire presentation. It's pretty wild what this thing can do, and it's just gotten better in version 4, especially with the Microsoft integrations with a lot of the split screen stuff. And we were also talking about a lot of the new apps that are going to be integrated. Well, all these apps are going to have full tablet versions that work properly on this now. So you're talking Facebook, all of their software, including Instagram, even TikTok, apps like that are going to integrate it so that you can actually, they showed the TikTok one, which was actually really cool. You've got the feed here, then you got the comments on the right-hand side. Incredible. So it uses the space very efficiently. And obviously with a device like this, you've got to have a great camera. They've updated with a 10 megapixel telelens, which the Z Flip does not have. But now the main camera is a 50 megapixel wide.
Oh, so the main front camera is a 50 megapixel camera. That's just nuts.
So it's S22 quality now. So they finally figured that part out.
Is that the same night vision as well?
It will have similar increases in quality, but they've also integrated the peekaboo cam, the moonshot cam. It's 30x or something like that. So using the telephoto, it's all there. And because there's two screens, when when you're zooming in, you can't quite see where you are in space. It'll show you where you are in space. It will show you the close up, and it'll show you where you want to go. Okay. So using the whole screen, this is incredible. Yeah. Right. And night vision is 23% better. So it's not quite as good because you've got more pixels, right? They're finer because at 12 megapixels, you've got bigger pixels for collecting light. This one has a more dense, higher quality image at the expense of low light vision, which is to be expected. Okay. So I love it. They did also, the camera cover, the cover camera is also better. Selfies are better because they've increased the quality of the screen. Now it gets out of the way. So you know how people were like, "Hey, what's this netting in front of my camera?" They've made that even better.
Okay, so overall, it's a more improved phone. Thinner, of course. Oh yeah. Thinner bezel, and of course, longer battery.
Feels
longer
better.
Battery life.
4,400 milliamp hour, which is incidentally kind of amazing because only 700 milliamp hour more than the Z Flip 4. And this thing has 3 screens.
And it's powering the whole thing. Yeah, okay. Again, I mentioned earlier about the efficiency cores and performance cores. And with the new chips these days, they are optimizing, what type of applications needs to run in the background. If it is, then that's just, efficiency cores, right? And if you need performance for video, for whatever, then the performance cores come in. And that helps with the battery, saving your battery life. So that makes more sense.
And getting the battery topped up, you still have 25 watts fast charging and also 15-watt wireless. 15-watt wireless was in the originals, so that hasn't changed, but 25-watt fast charging is sufficient. So that should be a really great way to do it. It's completely compatible with Qi charging, both devices. Both phones have Qi charging, including the watches. Incredible. So you just drop it on the pad and you're good to go. Samsung is now selling. There used to be my pet peeve was originally the charging pads needed to have a divot so the watch would sit low enough onto the pad. This year, not necessary. All the pads are flat. Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Which is great.
All right.
So it must be a more powerful coil.
Is there? I remember the original S20, 22, and things like that. They had a Samsung. I think it was called the Dex. Did they have something similar for this for the Folds as well, where you can? They
didn't really mention it at all, and I think that maybe that's on purpose. I'm not sure because Dex was always kind of that thing in the background. Might be going away. But at the same time, though, you're seeing so much more interactivity with Office 365. It's integrating more heavily. It's better integrated. So one of the features of Android phones is that you can project what you're doing on the phone to a screen, and you can also pair a keyboard and a mouse.
That's right. Now you can do that with wireless displays, right? So you just through.
That's right.
I can't remember what they're called now. Is it called? What's the feature they call on the screen with these on?
I just cast it.
Yeah,
I cast it to
Mirrorcast,
the device.
Mirrorcast, right?
Mirrorcast.
For the Google, yeah, and for Apple, I think it's AirPlay or something, or Air.
It is AirPlay.
Yeah.
You're right. So on my Amazon TV, because it's Amazon branded, I can actually take my phone. I can actually project my entire screen up there. Lag a little bit, but not that much. If I have a keyboard and a mouse wired up to my phone, I can actually take over the screen. I can basically do an entire session just sitting there. I can have
in
my
that case,
Zoom
then
calls
you probably
up. In
that case, then you don't need the DeX, which is what used to be like a dock, right? That connect up your monitor, keyboard, and mouse. If you're doing it now, especially this day and age with wireless connectivity, right? Keyboard, mice, and wireless displays to your 4K TV. You're getting 4K resolution, right? So you're gonna
a lot less complication, right?
Yeah.
So much less complicated these days, and I think that the fact that they didn't mention DeX, I think that was maybe a good thing, because there are DeX diehards out there. But I mean, with this integration with Office 365 apps, with the Google integration as well too, with the way that all the apps are now starting to have features that are specific for the Fold and for the Flip, this is having another piece of hardware really is like, no, I don't want that.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
I don't want that, right?
You got wireless connectivity, so that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So
loving this device. A little bit more too expensive for myself to pick up because it's something that I wouldn't take with me often enough. But for some people, like your brother,
my brother,
where he needs to get into like a terminal session,
he does
kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, he has a window open terminal with all the command lines, and he has the browser session, see the results live, real time. So
this must be a dream.
Yeah, and it's plus Google. He loves the Google because it's open source. It's it's based on Unix. Similar. So and plus it's open source. So that's one thing he really likes about that. All right. So tell me the pricing. Mentioned earlier, $17.99 for a 256, and then starting.
So it goes up in like I think $150 to $200 increments, with the top one being very expensive. Pricing is where they started at. They didn't list any of the other ones, but if you check with your carrier or with the Samsung store down the road, they should have that pricing listed. I think it's up there now. I didn't have a quick look at it before I got there, but I can tell you the 256 gigabyte version of the Z Flip, which is on this website right now, that one was about $1,200.
Yeah. That's good because it's August now, so they mentioned all the products coming in from Samsung. Incidentally,
26.
Incidentally, September is usually the date for Apple, so they
yes.
So we'll see what Apple comes up with. The iPhone 14. Oh wow, it's the same bloody phone.
Oh my goodness.
Same or maybe a little improved camera, but it's the same candy bar shaped thingy, and it's gonna be.
I don't know how they can really innovate, especially in the face of a phone that folds in half. And, we have to also talk about, again, every year people get new phones, especially with Apple people. Every year there's a new phone for them because of the way that, and don't get me wrong, Samsung's following as well too, because they're doing the competitive trade back. They're giving the special bonuses for trading back your original phone and getting one this year to increase their numbers. Apple's been doing that for some time, and they even offer interest-free payments, just like Samsung is doing right now. So they followed Apple in that respect. But there's also an environmental impact on this. And Galaxy for the Planet was something that they talked about for a good chunk of the presentation. Yeah. And basically what they did was, and a couple of things that they wanted to highlight only, and, like, for recycling, there's never enough that you can do. They at least started with recycled fish nets, which are one of the things that really mess up the ocean.
Yeah,
and they started putting pieces in the Galaxy S22 series, so that's there. Every Galaxy launched in 2022 has at least one recycled plastic component. And also the packaging. The packaging has shrunk a lot. I've noticed that myself. It's no longer this huge box, same as Apple. But not only are the boxes now 100% recyclable, the whole thing, but they're also 58% smaller. And as a result, in 2022, they saved 51,000 trees.
What about the tree's good? That's a good sign. Good, promising. And what about the chargers and the cabling? Are they gonna
Chargers are no longer in the box.
Oh, so they follow
cable.
the same kind of no chargers.
All the same thing.
But then you still need a USB-C cable, right? That's what Android uses, right?
It's in the box.
It's about USB-C.
Cable's
okay.
in the box.
So cable,
You at least get
the
that.
phone, and that's pretty much it, right?
That's pretty much it, right?
And tell me
there's
more
not much
about,
you need.
because I love Android phones because of the dual SIM. All right, so
Yes.
tell me, are they going to keep that as
This
well?
year? Mm-hmm. This year, okay. So first of all, in the last update to I think the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3, they added eSIM support. So I can actually have an eSIM in here now,
Yeah.
as well as a physical SIM. So that was there in the software update. They're continuing that. So there will be
Right.
an eSIM support, any physical SIM support in both their devices. It's fantastic. And it's out of the box. So you never have to worry about whether or not you should have a second SIM for traveling, because you can just put it in there if you want to. Your eSIM can be specifically for your carrier now.
Right. Oh, that's one thing about eSIM. I don't know how that works. Have you actually tried that? For example, right? If if I have two SIM cards right now, one's for UK, one's for Canada. Okay. Now, if for example I get a Canadian provider, but he didn't give me a SIM card, he just gave me an eSIM number, say.
Yep.
So what do you do with that? You put that into
Punch it
the
in.
option in the settings.
That's right, the eSIM option.
So in the settings is an eSIM option. You open that up and you put in the eSIM number that the Canadian provider gives you, and then
it's registered to your IMEI.
MEI, and then that you just
It's
activate
the same
that.
as before.
And you just activate that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically for most people that remember, we used to activate phones with just an IMEI number and another number. Now, but being able to do that meant that phone was locked to that provider. Nowadays, the eSIM basically doesn't have to lock, but it has the convenience of being able to activate over the phone
Right.
without that physical SIM card.
Now, one thing, for example, now I go back to say UK, and the UK provider also gives me an eSIM number.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, of course, there's only one space for eSIM. I'll have to disable the Canadian eSIM and then put my UK eSIM into the settings and then activate that to enable it to work.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, I get you. So it's not fixed. So in other words, if you put in the setting, it's not locked, right?
It's not locked because
you can re-edit those settings for another provider in a different country, say.
This is a better way of doing IMEI and serial number registration.
So you save yourself
in the past
paying $5 for a SIM card, basically, right?
I would still rather get a physical SIM card overseas, unless there was some incentive for me not to. So money is a good way to do it.
Okay.
Also, being able to go into the store and double check with the rep, hey, are you sure you meant what you said here? Also a good thing. But I can understand that that's also very very advantageous. Even Google Fi themselves in the US, they offer eSIM or they offer physical SIM. The physical SIMs are usually inside the airport vending machines. So if you buy one there, you can put it right into your phone.
Yeah.
But I would always reserve the eSIM specifically for my home provider. Travel
That's
abroad.
correct.
I think it's a pain in the butt to have to register and unregister electronically, because once you do that, you no longer have access to any network.
That's true. That's why I asked you how difficult it is, or is it something that people can do themselves? Because it's something that if physical SIM, they take the SIM card, the tray out, put the SIM
easy
in.
to understand.
Yeah, you put it in, job done. You can switch provider, right? But in eSIM, people need to be educated on how to use that, right? So
like eSIMs sometimes don't work right. So that's why I'm always kind of, eSIMs are fine, but there could be a problem with it not registering.
Right.
Because
and then you have
your IMEI has to be on the network. Like how does that work? Like what's going on?
Yeah, I get you. So I understand that. So it needs to a little bit of getting used to the settings if you want to do the eSIM, but definitely a SIM card would be much easier. And Samsung
take
has
it to the provider.
Options for both, right?
The Samsung now has options for both. eSIM was just activated in the last software update for the Flips, the S22s, etc., etc. On phones that don't have the second SIM tray, which is basically all of them at this point in Canada. So that's at least something convenient. One of the nice things too is that once you have these phones in here, and these are some of the advanced Android features, is if you have a really good voice plan that's really cheap, and you pair that with a really good data plan, you can use data from that SIM and then voice from the other.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get you.
So this works for international. Like, let's just say that you're internationally roaming, but you never place a call. Well, guess what? You shut off the data, but anyone can still phone you in that country. So your phone number still works.
Hey, this is what I do.
Convenient.
I have a really good data plan, a contract, right? It's 18 months, 24 months actually from the UK. They give me 300 gigs of 5G data, right?
Jeez.
And wait, let me let you finish. That's in the UK. And they allow 5 countries, Canada, US, I think Australia as well, and some other country, right? And if you were in those countries, those 300 gig of data, 5G now, 5G, can be used up in those countries.
So you can roam with it
roaming, but without the roaming charge. You can use them as standard data. Yeah, I won't get
incredible.
Yeah, I was like, what? I signed up. I don't care. I signed up for it. It was £28 and now £30, whatever US dollar or Canadian dollars that is now per month. But it's so worth it. I'm getting
Canada
300.
And the US, that's lame because for us, because we have to pay like $8 or $10 or $14 a month just for the privilege of using our data in another country.
I'm getting 300 inclusive. 300 gigs now, not 10 or 15.
Oh my
300 gigs of 5G data, right?
Crazy.
So I'm getting that, and I'm roaming now, right? Because last time I was in Canada, I was just using that, a 5G roaming, 300 gigs. So and
for all Canadians out there, we are getting hosed so badly, unbelievably badly. Our big 3 carriers are crooks.
They're crooks. Yeah. All right. Okay. So the question is now, Stephen, what are you going to get with these new phones?
What am I going to get?
Which one are you going to get?
Well, you know what? There was a lot of flipping and folding in my head, but coincidentally, I have ordered a upgrade for myself with a trade-in.
Okay. So you're trading your old phone.
I got the trade-in. So how it works in Canada right now, and this could be different for the US, they probably usually have better offers. But in Canada, what they're doing is if you order directly from the Samsung store, what happens is that if you trade in your original Z Flip 3, and it might be less for other Z Flip versions, but in my case, my Z Flip 3 is still worth something. They gave me half back. They gave me $700 and something back for it to trade towards that. That's pre-tax, right? So they take that off of the price of the phone first. So the phone is only worth, the new phone is only like $600 something. $600.
Okay.
They're also offering an additional 1 year plan for Samsung Care. So in that year, anything that happens, including your screen protector, taken care of. Done. Right?
Okay.
They are also offering, in order to get you into the ecosystem, they're offering you 50% off a Galaxy Watch 5 or Buds. Forget about the Buds. Get the watch. So
get the watch, okay.
So $279 for a Watch 4, or
price. So
$139,
$135.
Yep. Or you can get the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, which is for something half price.
So it's $220, $230.
Yep. So I got the Z Flip 4, and they're also offering this special promotion. If you buy the 256, they will give you the 512 for free.
What? So you're getting a 512.
I'm getting a 512
because you've bought the 256.
I have the 256 right now. I never use it all, but whatever.
And you're trading that phone, the Flip 3, at 50%. So you're getting 50% off. Well, on 50% off, literally.
Literally 50% off the new phone.
On the new phone, but you're getting a 512 model.
Yeah, I'm getting an upgrade in memory. I'm getting an upgrade in processor. I'm getting an upgrade in battery. Everything that I wanted. And I'm getting another year of Samsung Care, which basically covers everything, including an accident. And I'm getting a half-price watch. And that watch, if I want Samsung Care for that, it's also half price. And they're throwing in a high-powered charging station with like a watch compartment and a phone compartment. So this thing's like $100. Yeah, $100 charging station at high speed. And guess what else they're doing? If you signed up for the Samsung event before it launched, this was like a week ago, they offered this promo. If you register for it, you get like a special coupon.
Yeah,
the coupon is $100. So it took $100 off the bottom. And then what they do on top of that is they offer you financing just like Apple does. So in this case, PayBright will give you 0% for 36 months. Now, obviously, it's just extending the payment.
Wait. 36 months at 0%.
That's right.
So it's literally, you're literally
money.
paying for a plan for 36 months at 0%.
Yeah. I think my payments are $22.
That's it.
That's it.
Per month for the phone, for all that, for
all
the
that
phone,
stuff.
for the Samsung Care, for the
everything,
for the watch,
everything.
Oh my god!
Now keep in mind though, I still have a year to pay this off, but it was also 0%. So I just have to kind of quickly, take care of this business.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm done.
Christmas has come early for you then, Steve.
Christmas has come early. August has come early for me. No, back to school has come early for me. So I'll get this on August 26th.
Back to school, yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be incredible. So I've got an upgrade. Everything is an upgrade. And the nice thing too is that next year, if I did want to make that jump up,
now
that I have all the equipment, when I make an upgrade, it's actually smaller amounts now because they'll give you a competitive trade backs to keep you in the ecosystem, just like Apple does. They just want you in, and they want you recycling the phone every year.
Right. I see. They want you. It's a bit like Apple, right? Once you're in that iPhone kind of ecosystem, they want you in there. Yeah.
Because most people that own an iPhone can't say no to the offer when they see what the trade-in is.
Yeah,
they can't.
Yeah. So this is for me, right? I like the Flip 4, and I see all the features. It's slimmer, it looks sleeker, and it's something, I think, a big improvement over the 3 from what I can see.
It is an improvement in every way,
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to think of, one second, okay, the price is acceptable, okay, compared to iPhones and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait until September when they have the announcement of the iPhone 14 or whatever they're going to call it, and I guarantee you that phone is not going to be anything better than the iPhone 13 Pro that I have right now.
You won't get any of the offers though.
Exactly.
These are pre-order offers.
So if the new iPhone from Apple is going to be the same, then I'm going to skip that, and I'm probably rooting for the Flip 4 because that's something it's really attracting me at the moment.
You know what you really should do? All of this stuff goes away in 2 weeks. There is a pre-order window.
Also, I have to do it soon.
So, because this offers a 30-day money back guarantee. If you get all the offers now and then you see the Apple announcement, you can still send it back if you haven't opened it. At least that way you're not stuck, because all of this is pre-order only.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to lose
they want to get you in
it, right?
Yeah.
They want you in. They know when the event is, and they're doing this for a specific reason, to get you into the ecosystem before you are looking over in Cupertino and wondering what they're doing, right? For iPhone people, it's a no-brainer. They can't possibly switch now because of how competitive those offers are. I'm not in the iPhone ecosystem. I'm not attracted by that half price, half back, or more than half price every year. And chances are next year, because I have the 512 version of the phone, they're going to give me more money for my phone, even though I paid $256.
That's right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it's 512. Yeah. I get you.
So I don't know, man. I mean, here, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm paying. And this is going to be like, ooh, it's going to be good. So my total bill is here. I'm just looking up, and there's my order confirmation. Oh, exciting!
So wait. So you didn't pay a deposit or any
nothing,
down payment or anything?
My first payment comes out on October 10th, so I actually have 2 weeks. 2 weeks leeway. So
first payment October.
Yep.
At $20. How many dollars?
Here, my total bill, which includes my watch, taxes, everything, is $986. That watch is $449. The phone is like $1,400.
Wow! So you literally getting almost like 40% off.
Yeah.
Or something crazy like that.
My payment will be $27 a month for 36 months.
At 0%.
At 0%.
That's
it's dumb. I know. Tell me about it.
That is so good.
That's why it's so good. So if you know,
you know that price at that, especially 0% and plus all these new features, you're gonna enjoy your phone a lot more.
I'm gonna enjoy my phone because it's everything that I've been pining for. I wanted these features. I wanted the battery life. Now not only do we get in this iteration Z Fold Flip 4 series, 4th generation, you get the battery life now. You get the powerful processor that can do all this multitasking.
Yeah.
All the software developers are now coming out with apps that are completely optimized for this, like the most popular apps, right? Not everything, but the most popular apps. Like I'm on social media, I use all those apps. Less battery life, or more battery life, more power, longer run times, more creativity because of FlexCam and everything. Because I used the snot out of this thing, man. I mean, if I can just run around and do that and keep an eye on what's going on, that'd be fun. I don't know if the software is available on this. I mean, the Z Flip 3 might be a phenomenal deal if it gets all these software upgrades, but I know that this new phone covers everything that I want, and I might be the one that I keep for 2 years, because I was already looking for a phone when the battery life started to not be great. So there we are.
The thing I like about the Flip 4 is it's the design, the new chassis, the new bezel.
It is
thinner.
nice.
It looks slicker, and before, when I looked at the previous generations, it just looked chunky. It looks big.
It's gotten so good, man.
Clunky. But because it looks so slick and slim, and the way you have the bespoke versions, right? So now you have like different customizations, and it looks so good. I'm really tempted. I'm I got itchy fingers.
I think the only thing that they can improve now is if they were to make it dust proof. And even then, I don't have dust in my phone. They checked it. There's no dust in my phone. There's nothing in here.
It's made so well, and now you're on the 4th generation. They've improved on all those features anyway, and making it dust proof. At least if you're in the sand, you can't do it, right? But
and quite
general
honestly,
daily use, right, in your pocket, in your bag, or in your whatever folder, your laptop bag, whatever,
pocket lids,
right? Your pocket. So you're gonna get some of that dust. But that dust doesn't affect the phone.
No, really, it doesn't. It's not even in here. It's been how
exactly.
long?
So
and I also wanted a watch. I was actually my old WearOS watch. I was like, this thing sucks. I can't wear it all the time.
But your watch, how old is your watch? The previous watch.
It's a WearOS 4100 watch. It's getting the latest version of WearOS.
Right.
But I still think that once it gets it, it's still not going to be that great. It's also a cheap watch. It's one of those Mobvoi tick watches.
Yeah.
So it's not a high watch.
How you had it for about 2 years? Yeah. That kind
not
of
even
like
2 years.
That's about
It was a cheap watch. It was cheap. Like really, it's not an expensive watch. It retails for like $279 or something like that. It's basically the same. Yeah.
Right. But with the new Watch 5, you have all those new features.
Oh yeah.
Temperature sensors and all that.
Battery
kind of
life.
Stuff. So battery life. And it syncs well with the phone.
Works well with everything.
Yeah.
I'll actually wear it.
I think I think Samsung now have done really well with trying to push the ecosystem.
Yeah,
and,
I think so.
And with so much of of course, with the new celebrities from the K-pop, BTS and all that guys, I think it's going to work. I think they took the time during the pandemic to really study and focus on some of the features that people need, right?
Yeah.
The video conferencing, the health monitor on the watch and things like that. Yeah. It all came together now, or early last year and this year. Now they're pushing towards getting those products out there for people. I think it's about the right time. Plus,
I think so too.
I
think people are coming out of their hibernation now. They're going back out in the world. These health features were needed. The durability of the phones was needed. People are now back out in social settings. The Z Flip, the battery life is needed. You're no longer tethered to the wall. So you have to have the additional battery life. It's not that like Samsung didn't know that they were coming out with the 4th version of it. They probably knew that these were the incremental upgrades that we needed to make in the new versions to make it better.
And mobility and that kind of, people moving around, portability, I think that's all taken into consideration, and that's definitely something that they've improved on. This iPhone 13 Pro is not lightweight. It's heavy as hell. It's chunky. It goes in my pocket, and this whole big thing just sticks out of my phone, my pocket. But I went for this because of the security features. Yeah. But with Samsung's Knox and all that, I think
this is small. It does the flippy thing.
And what I like about the Knox is that it's across the board. You get the security across the board, from the watch to the phone to the if you have any other Android devices, that's all protected under this new Knox.
Yeah, in the fingerprint reader, also same place. I mean, on the Fold, still this.
Oh, on the side.
Yep.
So fast. See, that's something that Apple don't have. See, a fingerprint thing. They mentioned they're going to have a fingerprint thing, but they didn't.
Well, here we go. This is how I open my phone every single day. So convenient. But that's a lot of tech to talk about, Winston. I'm tired of talking about this. I want to. if you want to find out exactly when I get my phone and when that first unboxing experience be, you have to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Stephen Fung in both places. So when you see that picture drop, you'll know that I've got it, and I'll have something to say about it in that podcast following August 6th. How about you, Winston? Where can people find you?
You can find me on the Winston Chim, at Winston Chim, on both Instagram and Twitter. Again, those are my personal socials where you can see me doing cooking, lifestyle, whatever, but definitely tech stuff as well. But it'd be interesting to see how Stephen handles with his experience with the unboxing of his new toys.
Yours. I might have influenced you. Who knows? That's time we have this week on our podcast show. Make sure you leave your comment below and subscribe so Winston and I can let you know exactly when the next show drops. It's every Wednesday. I'm out. Peace.